Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Chai with KJ. Today we have a special guest, Craig Campbell, joining us all the way from Glasgow. Craig is seasoned SEO expert with years of experience in the industry. He's here to share his knowledge and insights on how to boost your website's search engine rankings and drive more traffic to your business. So sit back, relax, and get ready to learn from one of the best in the industry. So let's welcome Craig to the podcast. Craig, thank you so much for your time, and I hope you're feeling much better after the COVID.
No worries, it's a pleasure to be here. I have recovered from COVID, so all is good. And as I say, it's always good to catch up and talk all things SEO. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, perfect. So for those who don't know you, can you give a little bit of your introduction, who you are, what you do, the people who want to know who actually Craig Campbell is?
Yeah, of course. So in short, I have been in the industry for 20 plus years now. I have been an SEO for predominantly all of that time. Started out as a freelancer, the same as everyone else, to figure things out. I then went on to build up a successful digital marketing agency, which I decided to give up after 10 years of doing so. Some of the reasons that I gave that up were, dealing with clients, people dropping out, people having false expectation, all the usual agency style problems I found very frustrating and became tired of doing that. So I started to pivot towards training, consultancy, and affiliate marketing, which is what I do to this day. Uh, what I learned in that period of time is there's multiple ways to make money online. Whether you do client work, whether you do affiliate, whether you do training, a mixture of all of that, it's entirely up to you. And as I say, you've got to move with the times, and you've got to do what gives you the least amount of stress. So that's why I'm doing a lot more affiliate stuff, which I thoroughly enjoy, and it allows me to grow and scale at a pace that's comfortable for me. So that's what I'm doing now, in short. So it's been a quick 20 years.
Nice. So I believe you're in Glasgow, right? How's that from different? How's that different from London? And if you had to choose between London and Glasgow, which one you would choose, and why? I guess that's a easy question, but
I mean, Glasgow's home, always has been and always will be. And I don't think you're ever going to sit there and say London's better, and certainly in terms of family and friends and all the other stuff that help you grow. So Glasgow, as a place, always, but money wise, in the UK, London is where all the business happens. That's where the people with the real budgets happen. And if you're asking me that question based on a purely financial aspect, then of course, follow the money. London is the place to be in terms of higher, sales and revenue and turnover and everything else. So there's a lot more money down there than there is certainly in Glasgow. But the great thing we have as digital marketing people is it doesn't matter where in the world you are. You could be sitting in Mumbai and do work for an American client on the other side of the world. It makes no difference to where you are. If you're good at something, hopping on a Zoom call and dealing with people all over the world is something that we all do on a daily basis. So I have no real need or desire to actually relocate as such. So we're fortunate in this job that that's the case.
Interesting. And one thing I realized about Glasgow is that there are tons of SEOs. Actually, there are some really good SEOs. Like every SEO guy I've met at different conferences, most of the speakers I met, they were doing SEO and they were from Glasgow. So I didn't know. I have that thing with the, Glasgow. And also, Edinburgh is my favorite city in the UK. I don't know why, but it's really like classic. Really, it gives you that feeling of history and all the heritage and stuff. So that's my most favorite city in there.
But yeah,
Okay, so let's. Please go ahead. Sorry for cutting you off.
Edinburgh's a nice place as well. So, like you say, heritage, history, all of that stuff is there. So, yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah,
This place.
yeah. Okay, so starting off with your, marketing and SEO business, what was your big money maker, if you don't mind me asking, especially when you started off, like when you realized, okay, this is something serious?
I'm not sure. Moneymaker is probably not something I would say I realised until a lot further on in my career. Um, when you start out as a freelancer, you get 5, 10 clients and you earn a few quid and you're like, whoa, I can live comfortably on this. It
Yeah.
pays better than a normal day job. Um, then going on to build a digital marketing agency, some of the problems that I had was that I wasn't charging enough. I had massive overheads. So, in terms of the agency model at the time, was it a huge money maker? It wasn't. I had high turnover, I had high amounts of staff, I had high overheads, and stuff like that, and I had high stress. So, in terms of it being a real money maker, that wasn't the agency either.
Mm-hmm.
The things that like everyone else, even these days, um, you look around you and you're doing your client work, and you've got your head firmly focused on that, and then you start looking around, going, "Is there an easier way to make money? Who else is making the good money? Who's that guy speaking at that conference over there? How is he driving a Ferrari and I'm not?" These are all questions that go through your head. How does this guy make money? What is he doing to make that money? So it wasn't probably until, I don't know, 13, 14 years into my SEO career where I started to go, nah, hang on a minute. I'm not doing this properly. There's guys out there that are getting scale and growth and wealth that I'm not getting, because more clients for me was more stress, more overhead, more problems. So I was stagnating. But looking at guys like Matthew Woodward, who I followed, you know, in depth at the time. This was back when Matthew Woodward used to post his monthly income report and all this
Yeah.
stuff. And I used to look at that income report and go, this guy's traveling the world. He's got no overheads. He's just promoting this, and this. And he has no problems. He's enjoying life. So that was the kind of pivotal moment where I said, nah, you're doing this all wrong, Craig. You really are doing it all wrong. And you look at these guys and what they earn, and you're like, geez, I need to get out more. One thing I would say is, when I learned SEO early 2000s, up until probably 2014, 2015, when I stopped doing the agency thing, I didn't go to another SEO event. I didn't talk to other SEO people. I hid behind the agency. Now, it wasn't until I started going to events and then you talk to a guy, what is it you do? How, and you're like, geez, these guys are making eye-watering amounts of money. And that's when I thought, yeah, get out more, surround yourself with better people, level up even more, get better skills, learn more, get out more, network more. And at that point, talking to other people and seeing how they done it, that's when I realised I truly wasn't doing it very well. I was good at ranking websites, but in terms of running a business, in terms of what I was charging, all of these things were all wrong within my business. And because I didn't talk to another guy, I didn't know I was wrong.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, £300 a month client is a big paying client. Now,
Yeah.
knowing what I know, people would laugh at you for working with a £300 a month client. So, but I didn't know that. So you don't know what you don't know, and until you get out and network, that's problematic and something that I failed miserably in.
Yeah, networking helps you actually. It gives you new ideas and new, it helps you to improve your business as well. So let's talk a little bit about like now you moved into affiliate marketing, what you was doing or what you're still doing. Like, are you working with traditional networks like, let's say, Avon, Commission Junctions, or you're working with CPA networks?
So neither. So because I'm in the SEO industry, one of the
Mm-hmm.
first affiliate things that I ever signed up to, as such, was SEMrush.
Right.
Because I was a user of SEMrush, it was easy. So at the time, SEMrush were paying 40% recurring monthly revenue
Mm-hmm.
for people that you signed up. So that was a very attractive offer. Pushing people towards SEMrush, educating people on what SEMrush does. And anyone who's followed my journey will know that years ago, I was on every SEMrush webinar. I worked very, very closely with SEMrush. People used to
Mm-hmm.
think I worked for SEMrush at a period of time. So I used to leverage, SaaS tools, but it was private. I would go to hosting companies, I would go to domainers, I would go to all of these different things and make commission that way using the experience and the mistakes that I had made and all that stuff. Um, that was the easiest thing for me to do. Start out with affiliate on. There's nothing wrong with Commission Junction
Mm-hmm.
or ClickBank. People make lots of money on these using those networks. So I'm not dissing the networks. It's just not the route that I initially
Mm-hmm.
took when I was getting into affiliates. So um, yeah, it was that. So starting out with that, and I've also got a couple of e-com stores that I own. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing a mixture of both of those to make revenue.
Right. Okay. Interesting. And actually, I did work with the hosting companies as well. And what we were doing was we were getting exclusive discounts for our for our readers and stuff on our different platforms, and just offering them. Our readers were getting exclusive prices which they can't find anywhere else, and we were making a really good commission. So actually, it's a win-win for both sides. So now talking about your experiences and conferences and stuff. I see you have been speaking at different conferences as well. I think the first time we met was at a conference in Barcelona, Affiliate World. So how's that experience of speaking out at the conferences is like?
I mean, it's fun. Personally, I enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
Giving back to the community, getting the opportunity to speak at the likes of Affiliate World and many of the other conferences I've spoken at. It's an absolute pleasure to be able to get the opportunity to speak on those stages and pass on, tips, mistakes I've made,
Mm-hmm.
what to avoid, and obviously showcase some of the successes and stuff like that as well. So I enjoy it. It's a great way for me to one give back to the community and build my personal brand, and a great way to travel the world. I've been to India, I have been to
Mm-hmm.
America, I have been everywhere in between. So I've been to Thailand, so I've been all over the world, and these are potentially places that I personally wouldn't have ever had the opportunity
Mm-hmm.
to go to because, like, when I'm on holiday, I want to go somewhere with my family that I know. So I normally always go to Spain or Portugal or somewhere like that. Not too far. Would I ever go to Thailand on holiday? Would I ever go to India
Yeah.
on holiday? Absolutely not. And there's certainly been a lot of places that I've been to and met a lot of good friends, met a lot of good contacts, and also learned a lot from the conferences myself. Although you're a
Mm-hmm.
speaker, I think the big thing there is yeah, you've got your half an hour or an hour to talk, but it's those other conversations that you're having with other people at the bars, at the parties, or listening to other people talking. You pick up a lot more. You're building connections. You're advancing all of the time. And for me, getting the opportunity to speak, of course, is nice. But would I be going there anyway to learn 100%? Even
Mm.
though I am 20 years in the industry, I don't know everything about everything. There's guys out there that can build better funnels than me. There's guys out there that can, do certain things 10 times better than me. Facebook ads, whatever it might be. So there is always something new to learn and get better at. So again, I also learn from these conferences out with the speaking side of it.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes people ask me as well, like, what do you get out of, speaking at the conferences? And it's always, the answer is simple. Like, when you go as a speaker, it kind of like puts you up there as well, so that it gives you more exposure to people. Then they come connect with you and you learn from them. That's the biggest takeaway from there. Like, usually people think, speakers take tons of business and stuff like that. It gives you way more exposure as compared to business. And then you build those relationships, you build those exposure to build contacts and socialize with people, learn new things, and then of course business follows after that. So talking about conferences, you're speaking about in Affiliate World Dubai as well. What that talk is going to be about, what are a few takeaways, and what would be your advice to people who are going to attend your talk? What they'll be learning from you there, what you'll be talking about.
So at this particular affiliate world in Dubai, I am going to be talking about affiliate websites that I have bought and sold. So I regularly buy and sell digital
Mm-hmm.
assets. The same way that real estate guys buy and sell property, they buy it
Yeah.
cheap, paint it, and then sell it on for a higher value. My job is buy a website, scale it up, and flip it on for a profit. So I'm going to be talking a lot about that. What I didn't realize, now I spoke at the last affiliate world in Dubai, and I had the opportunity to kind of talk at the Barcelona event with Eric Siu. Now, I understand the audience better
Mm-hmm.
at Affiliate World. So a lot of these guys are not SEO guys. They are making money
Mm-hmm.
through affiliate, through paid ads, traffic buyers,
Yeah.
all of that kind of stuff. So the reason that I am angling in at this angle is obviously SEO is important as well. You can buy
Yeah.
and scale businesses based on just SEO. These guys can do
Mm-hmm.
the same bloody thing. They're doing paid. They should include SEO and be able to flip these on at much, much higher margins. Now, in my opinion, a lot of these guys are not thinking about buying and flipping websites. They just buy, they're not even buying. They've started a business, they've grown it, it makes revenue, but you need to think of the long term goal, the exit plan. What can you exit for? Can you exit and buy 5 more businesses? These are all things that I just want to get people thinking about, because there's money to be made there. And, people there, in my opinion, are all about paid traffic,
Yeah.
buying up traffic. They are not thinking of the bigger picture. They just they're investing 100 grand a month and they need to make 200 grand a month. That's it. Bottom line, they're heavily invested in terms of cash and they're not hugely profitable. So I need
Yeah.
to try and get that point across.
Yeah, I guess I agree with you on this because, especially the reason I got into lead generation was because before what I was doing was just build campaigns, spend some money, make profits, and after that it dies down. So what we did is we still go on paid traffic, like I still do paid traffic. I think even we need to work on SEO side. But again, the thing is same, like, you can sell those assets and build those assets and actually sell them as a business business that's way more profitable, especially if we include SEO as well. This is not something we are talking about like, a couple thousand or whatever. It is $1 million businesses they can easily turn into. So I totally agree with you on this. And if you talk about like these assets, how much does it cost, like on an average, if I want to buy a site, like let's say to flip it or whatever, how much does an average website will cost me?
That depends on what you want to spend. Now, you can buy a website for $500. Now, it's not going to earn a lot, and you're going to have to do a lot more work at the start, because we all know from a marketing perspective, the job is upfront heavy. You need more content,
Yeah.
you need more links, you need more budget for paid ads and all of that stuff. Now, for me, there's a sweet spot here. If I buy $500 a website, I still have to put, I'd be as well just starting from scratch, because there's not a huge amount of value there. Now, what I'm looking to do is buy something that's established, something that works. Now, that might cost me 10 grand. Now, buying a website at 10 grand might make revenue of $200 or $300 a month. It's not a huge amount of revenue. However, what we can see from that is there's a website. We know that the model works. We know that the traffic converts. So how do we take that website from $300 a month to $3,000 a month? And obviously that's more keywords, more link building, maybe more paid traffic, whatever it might be. We know the basics work. And that's the big thing. I don't want to try and make mistakes in certain niches on what might work or what might not work. I want something that's established that I can then utilize my skills and experience to grow it and then flip it on. So at the moment, people ask this question all the time. You know, if you says to me today, Craig, I've got 200 grand of cash sitting in my back pocket, how do I invest that properly? Now, someone else might say to you, invest in a property. You can rent that property out, all that stuff. Now, that property is likely to make you less than £1,000 a month. By the time you pay your mortgage, you're probably down to £700 a month. That is what a 200 grand investment will get you. If you go to Empire Flippers right now and look at a website for £200,000, it will likely to be earning between 5 and 7 grand a month. Far more than a property. Now, people will argue, but websites might get slapped by a Google update, they might get this, they might get that. Of course they might, if the job is done properly. That is where you need to do your due diligence. If you are confident as a marketer, as an SEO, as a paid media buyer, you shouldn't be worried about what slap you might get from Google. You should be going, I can turn this from, it'll probably take you 2-3 years to get your money back if you were to solely rely on that 5 to 7 grand a month. However, the job here would be again to scale and grow that business. How do I take that from 5 to 7K a month to 10 to 15K a month? Now, if I can do that, I then have an asset that I can sell for £500,000 or £600,000. So, in terms of the monthly revenue, I am not overly fussed. It's nice to get revenue in. It's the resale value that's in my head. Now, that is why I would look at something and say, can I take 200,000 and turn that into 500,000? It's not about the monthly revenue and all that stuff. Now, the monthly revenue does equate to what you can sell a website for. But if you know what you're doing, and you've said there, you've set up websites, you've thrown some money at it, some paid ads, whatever, and then comes some money, and you get a return on investment. It's easy, it's simple. You just need to do that faster, quicker, and it's all about the processes, the systems, the team that you've got surrounding you. And if you're confident in all of that, then why do you care whether you invest 10 grand in a website, 50 grand, 200 grand? The more you can invest, the more you're likely to yield in terms of being able to sell it on. So the question is, you can buy a house at 20 grand, dungeon somewhere that, you know, no one else wants to stay in. You could buy a house at 20 grand and then flip it for 30 grand. But again, likewise, if you had 200 grand, you could buy a house at 200 grand and potentially flip it for 350. So the more you spend, the more that you're likely to get the return on investment. And some people have to start small. I have started small. I've started out websites from scratch and built them up to making money and then sold them on. But like I say, there's always that sweet spot where I wouldn't go in for anything less than a 10 grand investment.
Interesting. Now, here's the thing, like in all industry, I know money is not a problem, but here's the question you are going to get, and I think it's important as well that we address it. Now, like let's say an average affiliate, he's making good money, he's earning good money as well. For him, investment, even 200 grand is not a problem. The problem is managing all that. You know, like when you buy a real estate property, you don't have to maintain it the way you need to maintain a website. Now, is there a way that, like, let's say you can build a team or something, it doesn't cost require that much effort? I mean, cost wise it's going to cost, but cost is not a problem. The problem is effort, because affiliates, if you know them, they're 100% lazy, you know. So yeah, so is there a system which they can use, and you know, like to maintain those properties and to you know, basically grow them?
I mean, there's not a system as such. There are services out there. So you've got the likes of niche website builders, um, where you can simply be an investor. You can invest your cash. They will do all of the work. They will provide all of the strategy. They will provide all of the content, all of the link building. They will provide the full service, and you're just putting your cash in. Now, you might say, I'm not doing all of that because that costs money as well.
Yeah.
So you need to delegate and outsource the parts that you don't have time to do or that you're not good at. Now, again, niche website builders, you might only go to them for the content strategy. You know, we all know that writing content or whatever from an SEO point of view takes the most amount of time. So that comes down to processes. Can you hire remote workers in countries that have a lower cost of living? Yes. You know, people for many years outsourced to the Philippines, India, Eastern Europe, South Africa. Why? Because we can hire someone in the Philippines for $300-400 a month, as opposed to paying £3,000 or £4,000 a month here in the UK. So you can leverage people in lower cost of living countries, but you have to provide them with a process. You have to provide them with training. You have to oversee that stuff. And that's all on you, the business owner, the investor, whatever you want to call yourself. And that is where a lot of people fail. It's not
Yep.
because they don't have the money to invest. They hire wrongly. The processes are garbage. You know, they don't understand how to check if the workers are doing the job properly. You know, such as content being copied and pasted from other websites, or maybe your content writer is using AI to churn out content. There's so many little nuances out there that could result in your website not being a success. So that is something you have to be very, very careful of. And that is down to you and why you should network, why you should learn more before you start investing real money into these projects, because it's very, very easy to make a mistake. Even though you've invested good money, you might have invested it into the wrong people, and stuff like that. So that's where I think the processes, your SOPs, your training, if your virtual assistants are not doing the job properly, either they're not the right virtual assistants or your training is garbage, one or the other. So those two come down to you. So if you want a hands-off job, and like you say, affiliates are notoriously lazy, then you're going to have to make sure that you spend the time delegating properly, hiring properly, outsourcing properly, and all of these things are the difference between success and failure.
Right, interesting. So now you spoke about building teams. What's the best strategy to build it? Like, if someone wants to start out, is it best for them to outsource it or have an internal SEO team? And if so, how you would advise them, like how to structure it? Do they hire everyone at once, or do they have managers who all their team reports to? How does your structure look like, and what's the ideal structure for SEO? And how many roles do we need to hire? I'm sorry, I'm just putting everything. But
I mean, I don't think there is a right or a wrong answer here. Now, the big thing you said here is, do you outsource or do you build an in-house team? Now, an in-house team is likely to cost you 5 times more than it would building an external team because of that lower cost of living thing. So, what you need is you're going to need middle management. That is the bottom line. Now, in my structure, I have people that are in-house in my office who are middle management. They will manage a team of content writers. So they will delegate the work out and tell them, here is your content brief, here's the keywords you're targeting, blah 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 blah. They will get that back, they will check it, they will edit it, they will optimize it, they will do whatever they need to do to make sure that that then goes on to the website. So the middle management are in charge of a bunch of writers. Now, let's say I invest in 3 new websites tomorrow. My middle manager can quite easily go and hire 3 more content writers. It's scalable. And if I don't need them any longer, we can get rid of them. So in terms of scalability, if you get a middle manager, you need that middle manager to manage 5 writers or 25 writers. That's quite scalable. Now, of course, if you get 50 writers or 100 writers, you're potentially going to need more middle management. But the middle management there is for quality checks, putting the thing in the website, running it through Copyscape, running it through Grammarly, checking it for AI. That is their job. That is all their job is. So I think the quality, what I see a lot of people doing, and I've had a friend, and I'm not going to name his name because he'll be embarrassed, but I had a friend who thought, I want to hire a VA. Now, he interviewed a few VAs and he got this charming female from the Philippines. So he said, yep, got myself a VA, I'm going to give her lots of content. Now, this guy was busy. He wasn't doing the quality checks. He wasn't giving her training. He wasn't doing the right things. Now, he was so busy that the content writer at the end of the week would say, hi there, here's 20 new articles, they're on a Google sheet or whatever. There they are. This guy didn't read any of them until 3 months later, and he realized that the person was using Jasper at the time.
Wow.
That had some Jasper error codes in the content. So he was like, fuck, like, I've been robbed. This person has given me absolute garbage. And it's like, and he obviously got rid of her. You're no longer working for me. This is no good, blah, 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 blah. She goes away, sails off. She's been paid. It doesn't matter. And he's sitting there going, I can't believe this. So that happens commonly. So just hiring a VA to do donkey work isn't the end goal. Those quality checks, someone to check that stuff on a regular basis, has to form part of the process. Because believe you me, people out there will look for shortcuts. They will use AI. They will copy and paste. They will cheat. That's just the nature of human beings. They want an easy ride themselves. Who wants to be sitting writing content day after day after day about, I don't know, t-shirts or whatever crap it is you sell? So for me, that quality check, that middle management, that part is essential. That's the structure. that I have. And the same goes for link building. We have 2 people in here who are middle managers when it comes to link building. All they do is find guys that have got links, and we pay them for it, and that's it. Their job is to oversee the link builders, what they're doing, whether they're doing outreach, whether they're doing guest posts, whatever it might be. They simply just pay these guys, check it for quality, make sure it's still live, put it into our system to make sure that we are checking if those links remain live. So there's middle management there and a whole bunch of VAs underneath them that we obviously have to pay for as well in order to get things done. So regardless of what you do, the structure is going to be middle manager and then a bunch of VAs. That's my structure. You might turn around and say, nah, you're better keeping it all in-house. My thing is, it's like a tiered link building structure. You pay for the top tier, the premium links, the press releases, the nice, expensive guest posts. And then underneath that, you need the cheap, more powerful links. It's the same with your business model. You need the upper tier to be competent and be able to use common sense. So the upper tier of my business is my own team, and then everything else is lower cost, but they can still generate the power, and they're doing all the heavy lifting or the tedious tasks. So that is how I see it.
Right. It's interesting you mentioned Jasper. What do you think about AI? Like everyone's talking about AI generated content. What's happening with the AI? I'm sure in past few weeks you've been talking a lot about it. So just give me an overview. What's happening with it? Do you think AI content is going to stick? If yes, will Google ever catch up with it, or how's that going?
So with AI content, I do not condone the use of it from an SEO perspective. Now, Google can clearly detect AI. Now, if you're referring to ChatGPT, they're already digitally watermarking their content. Now, that is easy enough for Google to detect. Are Google ever going to rank AI content or duplicate content or crap content? They never have, and they never will. That's the bottom line. Now, will ChatGPT be useful for writing a LinkedIn post? Will ChatGPT be good for writing a film script? Will it be good for writing a Facebook post? Will it be good for writing an ebook? Will it be good for a number of other things? The answer is yes. It works very, very, very well. The unfortunate thing from an SEO perspective is that Google can detect it, and Google don't reward that, and never have done, and never likely to. So whilst I think it can help as an assistant, it can help for many other things surrounding SEO, I certainly wouldn't be using it on my websites, put it that way. As much as I'd love to, I would love to cut out the cost of content writers. I'd just use ChatGPT. But sadly, I don't believe that that can happen. And I hope that I am proven wrong on that. And I would be more than happy to come back on your podcast and say, I got all that wrong. What a horrendous thing to say. But I don't think I'm wrong in this instance. And, that's just how I see it. So it's how you use it. Where does it fit into the strategy? And yes, there will be people that I know who use ChatGPT. They may then paraphrase that content. They may then edit that content. They may do other things to it. So the full process, will it stick in Google? Potentially, yes. But that's down to you. If you understand how to use AI content and the follow-up processes surrounding that to make sure that it's not detectable, then yes, you can use it. But just off the bat, can you use AI content? Push the button, copy and paste it, and throw it on your website? Nah, absolutely not.
Yeah, I guess it's really good for generating ideas and to find themes about the content you are going to write. But Okay, now let's talk about voice search. Like that's becoming more and more, common. People ask their smart devices about different stuff, and just they throw out results. How's that going to affect SEO? Or if I want to optimize my content today, how would I do that?
So the voice thing, people have been talking about this for a number of years. And yes, I also have an iPhone, the same as everyone else. And yes, I could talk to Siri saying, "Get me a plumber in Glasgow." The reality is, are a lot of people doing that? The answer is no. Who talks to Siri for search? You just go on your phone and Google whatever you need. So I think eventually voice search will become a lot bigger than it is just now, and stuff like that. But the big thing here that people are overcomplicating is Siri is translating what you say into a Google search. So it's there's not a special trick to this. There's nothing that obviously you can there's people out there who may be blind. There may be accessible. Websites have to be accessible to everyone, including blind people and people with other problems. And yes, there's an element of people who have these issues who will have to use voice search. So do you want to accommodate that? Yes, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, and certainly it's not the right thing to say to ignore it. However, is implementing all of that going to make a huge difference to your revenue? At present, does the general public, do or use voice search? And that's where it's very much debatable. People have spoken about voice search for many years at SEO conferences and stuff, and that's fine. I get it, and it's all great, and I think it's great for the people who have disabilities and whatnot. It's very, very convenient and useful for them. Would I go to the trouble of fully trying to optimize everything to accommodate voice search at this stage, just purely as an ongoing strategy? I think you need to weigh up your battles and say, are there other things I could be adding to the website here that are going to get me higher rankings and more traffic before you start looking to do these kind of other tweaks, if you like? So, as I say, I'm not dismissing it at all. I just don't think it's as huge as people thought it was going to be at this stage. And I know certainly from personal use, I don't really use Siri to do searches for me. So, but people may again argue with me on that and prove me wrong.
I guess it's going to take some time, especially with all these smart homes and stuff. That's not massively adopted yet, so it's not there yet. But it could be in future. Now, talking about future, what do you think? Is the future of SEO? Of course, it keeps evolving, but how do you see it in next few years? How future's SEO is going to look like?
So the big problem, like you said there, even when it comes to smart technology at homes, it's not moving that fast, really, is it? How many people that I'm a gadget guy? Yes, I've got Alexa. Yes, I like turning the lights and the heating on using Alexa. It's fun. But how many people do I know that have that kind of technology in the house? It's very small. And, for me, to answer your question specifically is, people have been saying SEO is dead since 2013. We're now 2023. They've said link building is dead. They have said this.
Yeah.
Now, have things really progressed massively from 2013 to this day? Of course, it's evolved. AI's coming out, and there's automation that comes out, and certain things will evolve, and we have to adapt to that. But has SEO itself massively changed? Is the core concepts of SEO just now still links and content and strategy and research and all that stuff? It is, and it's not moved on any. certain elements have evolved, but that's where we're at. And do I see that changing in the next 5 to 10 years? I don't think life moves as quick as we think, and people are always looking to go, oh, in 5 years' time, robots are going to be doing all of our work. They're not there yet. They're not as quick at developing this stuff as we would like. Maybe in 50 years you could have that conversation, but certainly, going forward, I think we need to be careful of technology, because I think technology can still damage SEO, certain automation, certain bits and bobs. So I think there will always be that human element of it. Things will get better. Hopefully, things get easier. We've got more tools we can use now than we did 10 years ago. More research, more data, all of these kind of things. And these things, data and everything, help us make better decisions and how to optimize better, and all that kind of stuff. So again, I think it will continue to evolve and stuff like that, but I don't really see a huge amount changing anytime soon, because where there's technology, there's always breakdown. So that's just my opinion, though.
Yeah, exactly. I guess there's a reason for that as well. Like, let's talk about all these smart home devices and stuff. There's no super app at the moment. Everything you use, you have to use different apps and stuff. There's not one app which integrates everything and all that. And also, all this equipment and everything is really expensive as compared to the normal equipment. So as long as the prices come down, technology evolves, so it's going to take a while to do. So now let's talk about SEO trends. What are the SEO trends we should watch out for this year? What's going to be hot this year?
Hot? I think the hot topic just now is obviously ChatGPT, AI content, and I think what we are going to see, and this is not a positive, this is going to be a negative, is a lot of people are going to jump on that bandwagon, and we're going to see a lot more updates, and we're going to see a lot more websites falling flat on their faces. As a result of that, that is what I would fully expect to see going forward. Google are still looking at quality. They always have. Whether that be through the expertise, authority, and trust side of things, the quality of your backlinks, the quality of your content, the quality of your speed of website, all of these things, people are always looking for a way to cut the corners. And I think the big thing I see this year is overuse of ChatGPT or similar types of content. I have seen many people adding tens of thousands of pages per week to websites, which is laughable, because they are going to fall flat in the face. Now, they may be working for now, but I do think that I am going to see a lot of people falling flat in their faces. And these people then go and make a lot of noise going, bloody Googling their updates, this has fucked up my business. Well, you cheated in the first place. Like, you can't expect to make money forevermore. And listen, I love cheating. I'm as black hat as they come. If there's a shortcut and a cheat, I'm the first man in the queue that wants to get through the door. However, I think, again, people are always looking for the easy option when it comes to making money online. They're always looking for that shortcut. They're always looking for the cheapest, most cost-effective way to do it. And for me, that's a trend that I see continuing, with the younger generation, the people that are coming in. They're hearing talk of these tools and trying it, and then coming back going, oh, so-and-so said this, and, it's ballsed up my website. So these are the kind of trends I see happening. And the thing for me, if you want success, would be get back to doing the basics properly. And what I don't see a lot is, when I analyze, when I do consultancy calls, I can pick holes, including my own website. I can pick holes in the strategy, pick holes in the website. So people are not even doing the bare basics properly. They're building on a foundation that's not solid. And I think from a business perspective, that's crazy. You have to go back to doing the basics right and then build up from there. And again, I just see people trying to cut that out. They don't want to do the basics properly. And SEO is not a hard game. It's all about time, dedication, hard work, patience, all of these things. It's not rocket science. There's no magic bullet there. And I think people need to wake up and realize that.
Yeah, I guess whenever people start something online, especially when it comes to new people, they don't consider it as a business. They just consider it as something online. It's not so serious. They don't understand the gravity of it and how serious you have to be to succeed. Now, let's move on to. I was recently watching your videos about CTR manipulation. Can you tell us a little bit about that? How does that work and how effective that is? And is it good just for local SEO or for even, like, let's say, national or international websites that can work well as well?
So, yes, it can work both locally and nationally. There are a couple of little differences, but whether it's organically, whether it's locally, or whether it's in YouTube or any other social media platform, one of the biggest signals to these platforms is the engagement that a video or a blog post or an article gets. Now, when it comes to click-through rate manipulation, everyone has this perception that you're just sending a whole bunch of shit traffic, bot, fake traffic to a page or a GMB listing or whatever it might be. That's not what I suggest. The thing is, if I have an article out there and I want it to rank well, one, I need it to be unique. I need links to power it up. But then, what is the difference in being position 5 or position 1? It's going to come down to engagement metrics. Do Google take these into account? And the answer is yes, or I believe it to be yes. Now, if I use push notifications, if I use my social media, if I use my emailing list, if I use some paid ads to force people onto that blog post, will it rank better than if I didn't do that? The answer is yes, because people are bouncing onto that, they're reading it, they're engaging with it, they're commenting on it, they're doing whatever I need them to do with that article, which is sending a good signal to Google. Now, whether that is on your Google My Business listing, whether that's an organic page, whether that's in a YouTube video, that works. I've proven that time and time again. So I like to play around with different strategies and different techniques to make that happen. Now, when it comes to the map thing, the local map thing, sending traffic to a map listing used to work very, very well. But Google are obviously aware of what everyone talks about, all the strategies that people use. So sending a whole bunch of Indian guys to a GMB listing that's maybe in New York is not natural. So the biggest thing here is when it comes to local stuff, you now have to use local proxies. If you're going to force people over to your GMB, make sure that you're targeting people in the New York area because Google can see IP addresses. They can see all of that data. So they want local people in your GMB. Guys from India do not come on a New York GMB looking for a plumber. It's not natural. I can tell you that. You can tell me that. Google can tell you that. So that is where you need to consider your strategy, whether that's local Facebook ads in New York or whatever. Now, when I used to do CTR manipulation, a way that I grew my YouTube channel was because YouTube's different. It doesn't matter where in the world someone watches your video from. Engagement's engagement. Now, I used to, and I keep referring to India. I have a big following in India, and I used to also serve a lot of Facebook ads to SEO people who were interested in SEO in India. Why? Because it's cheaper. I could get 20,000 clicks on an ad for $20 from India onto my YouTube video. So why wouldn't I use India? It's cheaper than getting a UK person or an American person on there. So I used to utilize India a lot in terms of YouTube CTR manipulation. Now, a lot of people taking that and they then serve Facebook ads to India to their Google My Business listing because it worked for me in YouTube. And they miss out that concept in the middle where Google want local people on the GMB. What works for YouTube, what works for any other platform does not necessarily work for local. So local is slightly different. And whether it's a web page, again, if I look at my audience, I've got Russians, I've got Indians, I've got guys in Thailand, I've got guys in America, Canada, and everywhere in between that hit my website. So it would be perfectly natural for organically to have people from whatever location you want. So you can manipulate a little better or wider when it comes to organic or YouTube or social media manipulation. But when it comes to local, it 100% has to be local people. So
Right, interesting. Yeah, so talking about your YouTube channel, why did you decide to start YouTube and how does that help you out?
So YouTube, I've had for a number of years prior to going big on it. Now, COVID hit early 2020. I was teaching a lot online. I had a lot of videos, I had a lot of courses, and I decided that at that point in time that I would give everything away for free because people were stuck at home. They were distressed, trying to learn. They couldn't get out to conferences. So I thought, fuck it, I'm going to give all my courses away for free on YouTube. So I'll put them all on there, and it massively blew up through COVID, and and hopefully people see value in that, and it worked out very very well for me. So I've continued to focus on the YouTube, and I do podcasts, I do live Q&A sessions, I will do tutorial videos, I will demonstrate tools. And YouTube's a great platform in terms of being able to reach a much wider audience. So it's working out very, very well for me. A lot of people say, Craig, do you make a lot of money through YouTube? The answer is you can. You can. Now, if you look at the AdSense on YouTube, it pays peanuts. Now, I've got a
Yeah.
YouTube sponsor who are niche website builders. They pay to sponsor the channel because it's got 100,000 subscribers. It gets a lot of traction. It gets them a lot of exposure. So can you make money through YouTube out with the AdSense? You can do sponsorships, you can do paid, promotions and all that kind of stuff. So you can make decent money through your YouTube out with the AdSense side of things. So YouTube works very, very well for me, and it's just great to be able to do volume and stuff like that as well. So yeah, I enjoy it, and it's worked out very, very well.
Okay, interesting. Thanks for that. Okay, we are reaching to the end of the podcast now. One question. Let's say the affiliate world is happening in Dubai. What would be your advice to the attendees? How they can make most out of the podcast of the conference?
I think for me, if I was advising you, and this comes down to your budget, I typically go out there several days before the event, and I will stay several days after the event. So the event's on the 1st and 2nd of March. Now, what happens is you get there on the 26th, the 27th, the 28th. What's going on in those days? Lots of people are messaging each other through the Affiliate World app or direct message me saying, "I'd love to have a coffee or a beer. Let's meet up. Let's talk business. Let's do this. Let's do that." I see a lot of people who just turn up for the conference and bugger off back home straight away. They're there for 2 days. To get the most out of it, get there. Go to there's parties the day before and parties the day after and all this kind of stuff. There's side events that go on around these events. And for me personally, I get inboxes, people saying, Craig, I'd love to meet you. Can we chat? Can we have 10 minutes? And we network? And that is what you should be doing out there, networking. What hotels is everyone staying at? Where's everyone having a beer tonight? Lots of that stuff happens, and you meet those good connections and you have better conversations. So, from a speaker perspective, as a speaker, when I'm on stage, one, I am not allowed to pitch. Two, I need to be careful in what I'm saying in case I insult or offend anyone.
Yeah.
Three, I need to be mindful that Google are not watching this conference and going to clamp down on something that's working really well for me. And four, you don't want to rub up any of the crowd, doing some unethical tactics or whatever. So
Yeah.
when you're a speaker, you've got certain constraints, in terms of time, what you can say, what you can't say. Don't be rude, don't be insulting, don't be too black hat, whatever. So there's certain things that I cannot say or do when I'm on a stage. If you meet me at the bar and ask me the same thing, it might be a much more in-depth answer. So
you are way more open.
yeah, you're way more open. And that's not just me, by the way. That's when you're talking to you or anyone out there. Dude, what are you doing? Let's fucking talk about this. Talk to me like in layman's terms. What shit are you playing around with? What automation are you doing? Now, some people are not comfortable with telling that stuff on stage. Some people are. I don't care on stage. I'm not there to impress anyone. I give away a hell of a lot more than I probably should. However, just in general, remember that speakers are certainly constrained by certain things. And if you go and grab a hold of that guy, go to a party with him, you will find out a lot more. So take those extra few days would be my advice to try and get a hold of the people that you want to communicate with.
Yeah, basically network with people and don't feel shy or anything. Just be open and reach out as much as you can. Well, Craig, thank you very much for your time. It was really lovely talking to you and learn tons of new things about SEO. So finally, if people want to reach you out, where they can reach you, I'll put your links in description as well. But just in case, if you can mention your socials or YouTube channel.
Yeah, so if you just search for Craig Campbell SEO on any of the socials or on YouTube, you'll find my channel very, very easily. Or you can find me on my website, craigcampbellseo.com. So get me social, website, whatever, YouTube, reach out to me, send me a message, whatever. I'm always happy to chat to people and yeah.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Craig, and thank you very much, everyone, for watching. And let us know your opinions, your suggestions, or comments. And see you next time.